Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Blessed Channel, a peaceful space where meditation and true stories of blessings come together, a space to pause, breathe, and receive. Here on the Blessed Channel, we share real stories of healing, hope, celebration, and inner transformation, all through the power of meditation, presence, and connection. This is more than a channel. It's a sanctuary of stories where every day people open their hearts to share how divine blessings have shaped their lives in subtle, powerful, and often unexpected ways. Whether you're on a spiritual path, seeking peace, or simply curious about the beauty of meditation, you're welcome here. Come be part of this global circle of light. You're not alone. You're deeply blessed. My name is Pooja S, and I am based out of New York. Professionally, I've been working as a litigation paralegal for over 18 years. But beyond the legal world, my heart is deeply rooted in service, stillness, and spiritual connection. For over 15 years, I've been a dedicated member of the Art of Living Foundation. As a certified teacher, I've had the privilege of sharing powerful tools for inner transformation through the Art of Living Basic Part 1 course, Seth Samadhi Meditation, and Shri Shri Yoga. These practices have been profound blessings in my own life, guiding me towards greater peace, joy, and self-discovery. And it's now my greatest joy to share those same blessings with others through this channel. I'm also a proud and grateful mother to a 24-year-old son who's handsome, independent, and incredibly intelligent. He continues to inspire me every day. It's my true honor and pleasure to welcome our special guest today, someone whose story and presence is a blessing in itself. So take a moment to pause, breathe, and receive as we step into another heartfelt journey here on the Blessed Channel. Please welcome Eve Rostkowski. Eve began her journey with the Art of Living Foundation in July of 1992, when she met Gurudev Sri Sri Ravi Shankar and completed her first basic course. Just a few months later, in October 1992, she attended her first Part 2 silence course with Gurudev in Canada. Inspired by her transformative experiences, she began the process of becoming a teacher around 1995. Over the years, Eve played a key role in organizing and teaching courses throughout the New York City area. She was instrumental in launching Art of Living initiative both in New York City and Long Island, working closely with senior teachers during the early stages of New York City startup. Following the events of September 11th, Eve was deeply involved in the foundation's relief efforts in New York City, helping provide trauma relief and support to those affected. Eve has taught a diverse range of participants, including individuals facing depression, anxiety, and addiction, as well as veteran coping with PTSD and incarcerated individuals. Her compassionate and inclusive teaching style has helped bring the benefits, breathwork, meditation, and stress relief to many underserved communities as well. Please welcome Eve Rostkowski to the Blessed Channel. How are you, Eve?
Hi, thank you. That was very nice. I'm happy to be here.
We look forward to learning from your wisdom, experience, and powerful work that you continue to do through healing, service, and education. So first of all, thank you so much for taking the time on such a short notice, to join us today on a significant day, 9/11, as the New Yorkers often say. So,
Always significant for us.
Yes. We gather here 24 years later to reflect and remember. It's a blessing for those of us who are here today. So let's start the discussion. What does blessings mean to you?
Blessings. I think it's the same as grace to me. I mean, I can't separate the two. And generally speaking, I always feel like, there's a flow of grace in my life. I've always been led to places where I was needed, and I've always been taken to places where I needed to do something. And it's actually always worked out, even though many times it's looked impossible, or it's been something that's like not in my purview, not under my umbrella, but I would somehow get it done anyway. And it was really just that flow of grace. For me, that's really what it's always been about.
Great, thanks for sharing. So when a traumatic event occurs, we often remember exactly where we were, the sounds, the sights, even the emotions, suspended in time. So Eve, where were you when the event of that unforgettable day unfolded? The day now embedded in our memories.
Yeah, I was actually walking out of my apartment on my way to work. I was running late that day, and I remember looking up and seeing one of the planes hit one of the towers, because I could see the towers from the street where I lived. And I just thought, oh my God, it was like that is a horrible accident. And then after I got to work, we found out that a second plane had hit. And when that happened, then we knew it wasn't an accident when two happened. And we were all just in shock. And they wouldn't let us go home because everything was shut down. The entire city was shut down. Nothing moved in or out. Everything was stopped. They were holding everyone in place. And we just went into our vice president's office, and he had cable TV. So we were watching everything on cable TV, and then we saw the towers come down. And we all just kind of sat there like in complete and utter shock. Um, After that, they let us go home a few hours later, and people were having problems getting home because everything had been disrupted. But I was able to walk home from where I worked. And I remember getting to Gramercy Park, which is normally closed. It's a private park. But that day they opened the park. So that was the first time and last time I was ever able to walk through Gramercy Park. Um, and it was just a state of shock.
Right.
And then it turned into grief. I mean, it was like the city had gotten punched in the gut, and you would walk down the street and you would just see people crying. It was like even the bus drivers we were being nice to everyone, which which was weird back then. It was just people were just being nice, and everybody was just there was so much grief. But the one thing that I really remember, there was a slogan people would write on the walls, and it was, "Our grief is not a cry for war."
Mm.
I remember that. And then Union Square, just which is also near where I live, turned into like this huge memorial for everyone who had passed. It was gut-wrenching. The whole experience was gut-wrenching.
Yeah, no, I remember being with my son at that time. He was only 6 months old. I was home with him.
Oh, wow.
I received a call from a friend urging me, just turn on the news, turn on the TV. And when I did, I was absolutely shocked by what was happening. I didn't believe at first. I'm like, what is this? And then when I saw, like really paid attention, I was devastated and I couldn't stop crying. I felt completely like overwhelmed and helpless. I didn't know like how to support the people who are trapped in New York City, that was terrifying and horrible times. So you living in the city, yeah, probably like the worst thing, because you're seeing everything around you.
As being part of Art of Living, the one thing we did do is we reached out to as many people as we could. I mean, phone lines were down. A lot of the cell towers had been knocked out,
Right.
but there were still landlines at that point in time, and those were working. And I remember we were calling as many people as we could. And I remember calling Dean and letting him know that Shirley was fine because she had been downtown that day and he was really worried. And I remember I got a call from Vikas, a friend of mine, and he said, "Can you call my wife? I can't call outside the city. Let her know I'm okay." And I remember like calling people and just letting like their
Right.
loved ones know that they were okay. Um, and then at the end of the day, all the people that we, could reach were all okay. And I remember putting out a message on like the teacher's list, just saying, we're all alive.
grace. It's a blessing.
Yeah.
So as a longstanding teacher, with the Art of Living Foundation, you were on the front lines during the time of immense crisis, offering trauma relief, support, and blessings, right? Could you share what unfolded during those challenging moments? And did you hear back from people about how these practices, helped them return to get back to their normal daily lives afterwards?
Yeah, this was the first time I ever experienced something like this in all my years of Art of Living. Um, Guruji was at the Gurudev was at the Montreal ashram, and obviously he knew about it.
Mhm.
And very quickly, I remember Jim Farrow. I remember Jim Farrow heard about it, and he was in California, and he just like I may get emotional when I tell these stories, so forgive me.
Okay.
He got into his car and he just drove here. He just drove here. It was like, I'm here. What do you need? It's like he was amazing. Um, and then I remember Gurudev sent down about 2 weeks in, he sent down a van full of senior teachers. But we didn't know they were coming. In typical Art of Living fashion, we had no clue they were coming. Nobody bothered to give us a heads up. But I remember being in my kitchen that day, and I thought like just Jeff Houck was going to come for dinner. I thought I'd have like 4 or 5 people come for dinner. So I was cooking, but it was almost like an out of body experience because I was like watching myself cook a ton of food. Like I cooked 2 pounds of tofu. I cooked, those huge pots you boil pasta
Right.
in?
Yeah. Yeah.
I cooked a huge pot of rice. I cooked an equally huge pot of dal, a huge saute pan of vegetables. I mean, I was just like, and I'm watching myself doing it, going, why am I cooking so much food? It was enough to feed a lot of people. Anyway, that night, as I said, we didn't know that this van was coming down from Montreal. And all of a sudden they show up, and I had like 18 people walk into my living room that night that needed to be fed. And I had food for everyone. But it's like one of those really strange experiences where you're just like, I just did it, but I don't know why, but it was the perfect thing to do at that moment. And then Anne came down, and Anne Farrow is a terrific organizer. Terrific. I mean, the two of them, Anne and Jim, were just incomparable. They were tremendous help. Um, and Jim started going around and he had that ability to talk to like corporations or churches. It didn't matter who the person was. He had that ability to just talk to them. And at that point, there was so much goodwill in the city for anything that would help, and we were told we could teach courses for free for a few months.
Mhm.
So people were just giving us spaces. I remember this place up near Herald Square. It was a Holiday Inn, and this very nice manager there, he was Indian. He just like gave us a ballroom for like a certain number of months. He was like, just use it. I mean,
Very
corporations were offering us conference, conference rooms. Churches were offering us space. And we started teaching with the senior teachers that came down. Uh, we started teaching like morning, noon, evening, and we taught somewhere between 1,000 and 1,100 people in the space of 3 to 4 months.
That's incredible.
Yeah, I don't think anyone in the US has ever even matched that. And that's not a brag. That was just like the need of the moment.
Right.
It's like it was needed, and we just opened it up and people came. As a result of that, I mean, people would come in. I remember this one woman, she was an airline hostess. She was a flight attendant on American Airlines, of all airlines. And I just remember her coming in to the course, and it was like she had just been holding it together. You know what I mean? It was just like holding it together and holding it together. And she just came in and she just sobbed. She just like,
Mhm.
it was such, that course was such a relief for people. It was like the first time we were doing 3-day courses. They were short courses. They were mostly technique oriented. It was just, obviously we always have the 5 knowledge points and everything, but those techniques were just blowing it out of the water. And I really feel like it helped transform New York. And even, to the point where now, and I mean, it was impossible to follow up with that number of people. But even today, we will still occasionally get calls from people and they'll say, I did this course after September 11th. I'd like to do it again. It's like they still remember it, and I'd run into people on the street or walking into a church or something, and they'd be like, that course, that real course really helped me at that time. So it was just, it met the need of that moment. And it was like kind of like riding the perfect wave on a surfboard. We just brought it all home. It really worked, and it really, really helped New York.
That's great. So, what kept you going? Such a difficult time, that really affected not only New Yorkers, but the entire world.
Yeah. I was kind of a mess up until we started the effort, frankly. I was traumatized. As
Mhm.
soon as we started the effort, it was like something just snapped in place. And it was like something in my brain, it was like, this is too important to go right or left, to buy into anything that pulls me off this path. This is too important. And like I said, it was like riding the perfect wave. It was like I would feel things come in that tried to pull me, like people not getting along, and I'm not sure how I did it, but I handled it. I kept everything on track. I just kept moving forward. I just kept moving forward until it was done. And then I went to India, and anytime anyone asked me about September 11th, I would just start sobbing. It was like, okay, now it's my time to grieve. That was like in January of the following year.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, oh, and Guruji, oh my God, that was intense. There was this, Guruji was going to came to New York. I
Mhm.
think it was December. And we had a very small budget. It was holiday time, all the senior teachers were gone. Everybody left for the holidays. So
Mhm.
it was basically me and Deborah Shea, and I think Nancy D was here a little bit of the time, Nancy D Silverio. Um, and we had to find a place, we had to advertise, and again, it was one of those things. This is too important to let it drop.
Mhm.
So, we found this, and everything fell into place. We found this great place on the Upper West Side that held, I think, like 1,400 people.
Wow.
And I had had some money that we had raised. I used it all in advertising in local papers. I mean, we just did the very best we could. We did flyering. We got people to go do flyering, especially in that area. And I just remember the house was full. Everybody came. There wasn't an empty seat there. And I remember Gurudev showing up, and I was just so relieved. I was like, okay, it's done. And I was like, Guru Dev, you're here. And he goes, am I late? And I said, no, you're perfectly on time. Just go straight down the middle of the aisle. Just go straight in through the front door. And he just
Mhm.
flew in. It was amazing.
Nice. So what was the event about? Like nowadays we have Journey Within or some, the Canberra or something. Some
I
talk.
don't know. I don't remember. He talked. We meditated. Yeah, it was. The truth
Meditation
is,
helps. Yeah.
the truth is, I don't have a clue. I was outside in the front, like helping people go in. I missed most of the talk. It was, I was working, so I actually missed a lot of that. All I know is that it helped people and
That's
it got people to see him. And it was 1,400 people
yeah.
back in like 2000
Mhm.
or what was it, 2000, 2001?
2001. Yeah.
2001. That didn't happen back then.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So how did your journey with Art of Living begin?
Um, I met Guruji at he Nancy D. Silverio again, uh, called me up and said, my guru's coming. He's giving a talk in the East Village at the old Jiva Mukti Yoga Center. He said, come and hear him speak. And I said, yeah, sure, why not? I wasn't like, I didn't meditate. I wasn't looking for a guru, but I was open. And I remember showing up there, sitting on the floor, and I just knew that the whole experience was extraordinary. I knew he was extraordinary. And as he sort of floated in, and walked down the aisle, I'm like looking at him going, who are you? And that was the question that kept coming to me in my head as he's speaking, as he's sitting there, the question just kept coming in my head. Who are you? Who are you? And then at the end of the talk,
Mhm.
I was leaving. And I didn't know the protocol or anything, so I didn't go up to him. But as I'm leaving, I'm in the doorway and I turn and I look and he's looking at me like dead in the eyes, eye to eye. It was like eye gazing from across the room. It's
Oh,
just like, and I just stood there and looked at it. The two of us just like stood there for a few moments like that. And then I smiled at him. He threw me a candy, which I caught. And I turned and I left the room and I ate the candy and I signed up for the course 2 weeks later. And that
wow.
was the beginning, you know.
Very good. That's amazing. Here you are. So how are you able to apply these, breath work meditation practices, Art of Living into your work and daily life, you know, all these years?
It's a little hard to answer that question because it's not separate from me now.
Hmm.
It becomes a part of your fabric.
Absolutely.
It's like a design that's sewed into your fabric. So you just keep returning to it. I mean, I just keep returning to it automatically, or it comes up automatically. It's not outside of me. It's something that's just interwoven in my fabric now. I don't know if that really answers your question.
No, I understand it completely what you mean. So do you think in the world today, you see these techniques are essential to keep up with the busy pace of life or conflicts in the world, challenges people all around may be facing? For you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, oh God, because I've taught so many people who've had so many issues, and it kind of breaks your heart.
Mhm.
But I've seen these techniques help so many people. There was one guy I remember he had panic attacks and he was using Klonopin, which is a heavy duty drug,
Wow.
and he was able to like wean himself off the Klonopin with the advice of his doctor. We didn't tell him to do that, But he was able to do that, and he was able to handle the anxiety and the panic attacks, through doing these practices, which is great. I mean, I taught college kids who had just come out of rehab. I mean, this kind of stuff will break your heart.
Mhm.
Some of the veterans, we taught they'll live rent-free inside your brain. Um, and even like teaching the inmates in prison, it is not what you would expect at all. It is not what you would expect. They are people, they are people who made mistakes. Uh, but it's not my place to judge them because they've already been judged. They're in prison. I don't have to judge them. They've already gone through that process. I just have to relate to them as a person, as people, as a teacher, and help them as much as I can. So yeah, it's been a fascinating and I'd say very kind of unexpected journey for me because I really wasn't looking for this when I was younger. It just happened.
So these techniques can definitely help people around the world. Like you have taught so many people that experience that you have. So it's like important for everyone, especially like I would say, it's important in today's day and age, the way it is, right? The way the world is.
There's, I, yeah, I mean, look, everybody has their own path to follow.
Right.
But from what I've seen, there are sometimes these techniques lead people to their path,
Right.
and a lot of times these techniques really, really, they'll help, with addiction problems, with inertia, with sadness, with depression. Depression's a big one. I mean, we saw some big giant leaps forward for people with depression, but also, everyday people, you don't have to have a serious issue like that. You don't have to have trauma. It just makes you happier. It makes you lighter. Um, your emotions are much lighter. When you get angry, instead of getting angry for an hour or two, you're angry for 5, 10 minutes, and then it passes. You move on. You're able to move forward in your life more without things pulling you back into these little like emotional vortexes. These things just like pull at you like this. But instead, you're able to just drop them and you continue to move forward, with your life in a more uplifted manner, with more benevolence, with more compassion, and with more kindness. That's my experience.
Absolutely. I agree with you on that. So are there any, one or two key pieces of wisdom from your journey that you find yourself coming back to often, like again and again?
Let it go. When push comes to shove, when push comes to shove, I'm just like, let it go. Just let go. Let it go. Let go.
So
Let
another, no, that's amazing. I'm sorry.
okay.
So another aspect of this blessed channel is satsang, coming together. Can you share some importance of coming together, especially in challenging times?
Well, that's the most important time to come together, I think. Otherwise you feel very alone,
Um,
and then all the negative stuff comes in. So coming together as a community and doing things that uplift yourself, doing things that uplift others, it becomes critically important. Otherwise you feel powerless, you feel helpless. So it's really those acts of doing service or those acts of just taking care of yourself, and then taking care of the people around you as much as you can. And then that continues to expand when you go down that path.
it's like a community where you
Yeah.
can rely on. So many of us, have been blessed to have attended or taken part of WCF, right? 2023. Can you share some of your experience for that?
I had just had surgery, like major surgery. So I was not, I went to the event. I went to the event a month before I should have, frankly. It was kind of painful. It was physically painful. Um, uh, but again, that there was no way I was going to miss it.
Right.
Like I wasn't going to miss it. So I went, and the thing that inspired me the most was the variety and the diversity of the groups that were there. You know,
Yeah.
it's just, it was like all those different people from all over coming together in one place in Washington, D.C. It was just, I mean, it was gorgeous. It was inspiring.
But I think what, 2 million people, 2 or 3 million people showed up at one place without any chaos. That was
Well,
amazing.
there was some chaos. There's always a little chaos in Art of
Not,
Living,
yeah, not a major part,
but
one big,
no major problems. There were no major problems. It was
right.
just
Yeah.
just tiny bit.
So as we wrap up, is there any final thought, piece of advice, any message of hope you would like to leave with, future generations?
Future generations. Wow, I never thought of speaking to future generations. I never thought myself that wise to speak to the future generations. I would say that you need to take care of yourself, and not just physically. You need to take care of yourself spiritually. You need to make sure your mind is clear, that you come from a clear place when you make decisions. Because most of the guys who end up in prison have made bad decisions when they were stressed or in bad places. So, as clear as you can keep your mind, that's the best thing possible. And one of the best ways to do that is through these techniques. And I've been involved since 1992. This is now 2025. If I hadn't seen it working, I wouldn't still be here.
Right.
If I hadn't seen the value in it, the value for people, and sometimes they don't even realize what they're getting. And
Absolutely.
later on they do. And you're like, oh, well, whatever. You know, and I would say having the ability to let go, learning that ability to just let it go, and keep moving forward, making wise choices. I hope that helps.
No, absolutely. That's why I said future generations. You've been in art of living for so long. I remember you were my first Sky teacher, and back in 2009 when I first took the course, the workshop used to be for 5 days, and I had an amazing, mind-blowing experience. I remember it left a deep impact on me. That's why I continued being on the path. So thanks to you. You're a truly amazing teacher.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm sure you are now too.
Thank you. That's when the journey started from 2009. So yeah, very grateful for that. So, to end the session or today, maybe we can end with a bhajan.
And the very, very loose translation of this, very loose translation, is all is God. I don't know how this will sound on Zoom.
Yeah, it will be perfect. Go ahead.
Saravam Brahman Mayam Re. Saravam Brahman Mayam. Saravam Brahman Mayam Re. Saravam Brahman Mayam. Saravam Brahman Mayam Re. Saravam Brahman Mayam. Saravam Brahman Mayam Re. Saravam Brahman Mayam.
Beautiful. It's really beautiful. Thank you so much. You sing really beautifully. You
Thank
want
you
to
for
sing
the thank you for the opportunity.
you want to sing one more song, maybe?
No, one was enough.
It was beautiful.
Thank you.
I'll sing something small if that's okay.
Sure.
ब्रह्मा विष्णु सदा शिवाय हर 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 महादेवाय ब्रह्मा विष्णु सदा शिवाय हर 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 महादेवाय हर 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 महादेवाय शिव 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 सदा शिवाय जय गुरु ओंकारा जय जय सद्गुरु ओंकारा ओम ब्रह्मा विष्णु सदा शिवाय हर 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 महादेवाय ब्रह्मा विष्णु सदा शिवाय हर 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 महादेवाय हर 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 महादेवाय शिव 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 सदा शिवाय जय गुरु ओंकारा जय जय सद्गुरु ओंकारा ओम।
Bravo. Very good, Pooja.
Thank you, Eve. It's been truly a special time for me, an honor to be here with you today.
Well, thank you very much. It was really a pleasure, and anytime I'm, honored and pleased to have helped out with this.
Thank you so much, Eve. Appreciate it. Thank you.